All right, guys, today we're looking at solving polynomials. So we're going to take what we've been doing, the factoring, and we're going to add one little thing to it. After we factor it, we're going to set each factor equal to 0. So first step, make it equal 0, period. Before you can do anything else, you got to make these things equal to 0. Second step, factor. And what's the first step of factoring? GCF. Don't forget it. After we have it fully factored, we're going to set each factor equal to 0 and solve each, whatever kind of equation it is, for x. Don't forget, we got quadratics going on. We're going to use a quadratic formula, square root method, complete the squares. No one's going to use complete squares, but you could. Most of the time, though, mode 5-3 is the way to go. Make sure you fully simplify all of your answers. Could have irrational and complex solutions. Let's get down to it. Here's the first one. X cubed plus x equals 0. Step 1, make it equal 0. Well, it equals 0. We're good. Step 2, factor. GCF. Yeah, that's the first step, factoring. They both got an x in them. Factor it out. Check again. Can I do anything else? I got an x. Can't do anything with that. Ooh, a sum of squares, I can use the, oh wait, there's no sum of squares. So no, we can't do anything else. Set each factor equal to 0. And then we solve for x. X equals 0, that one's already solved, we're done. X squared plus 1 equals 0. Now this one, what is it? It's a quadratic. So if you got your nice little Casio FX15 plus, go to mode 5-3, and when you type in A, B, and C, well, let's look at it. It is x squared, so it is a quadratic. A is the coefficient here, 1. B is my coefficient of x. There ain't no x. B is 0. C, that's my constant, 1. Done. Okay, type it in here, 1, 0, 1, and I get I and negative I. Okay, so if you have the Casio FX15ES Plus, that's the way to go. If you don't, since B is 0, we can use the square root method, only because B is 0 though. So x squared, solve for x squared equals negative 1. Take the square root of both sides. Remember, anytime you take a square root, you have to do plus or minus. So we get x equals, and square root of negative 1, that is I. So a positive I, and we get x equals negative I. There we go. So our three answers are 0, I, negative I. Done. Next problem. Well, actually before, be right back. All right, and we're back. So let's talk about the different ways we could factor. If we look at our polynomial, and it's a binomial, we got some options. So if it has two terms, then we're looking for the difference of squares, difference of cubes, or a sum of cubes. If you got two terms, look for one of those things. Now, what if you have three terms? It's a trinomial. Well, for trinomials, these things ain't happening. Here, what you can do is the AC shortcut. Okay? After that, what if it's got four terms? And obviously, you're not going to be doing that or that. What you need to do is group. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at your problem. If you got two terms, a binomial, is it a difference of squares? Is it a difference of cubes? Is it a sum of cubes? If it is, break it down. Got three terms, AC shortcut. Pretty much no getting around that. Four terms, factor by grouping. See what you can do with that. Okay, so let's continue. We just did this first example, now we're going to do number 2. Step number 1, make it equal 0. To do that, I need to subtract 3x squared from both sides. So I got 4x cubed minus 10x squared equals 0. It's equal to 0. Step 1 is done. Step number 2, factor. First step of factoring is always GCF. Do we have one? Yeah, we got a 2 and an x squared. If I take that out of there, I'm left with 2x. Take it out of there, I'm left with minus 5. Still equals 0. Check it out. Can I break this down? Nah. Can I break that down? It's linear. Of course not. Take each factor, set it equal to 0. This one should be pretty obvious. If it's not, well, if you have the calculator, go for it. Mode 5, 3, 2, 0, 0, and we get 0 for x. Yeah. If you don't see it right away, that it's got to be 0, you can divide by 2. You get x squared is 0. Square root that. You get x equals plus or minus the square root of 0. So x equals positive and negative 0, which is just 0. It is a double root, though. So it's important to note later that our multiplicity is 2. Remember multiplicity? Of course not. It's going to be bouncing there, y'all. If you graph this thing, it's going to be bouncing at 0. It's got an even multiplicity. Multiplicity is 2. 0 solves it twice. Okay? Look at what we got going on here. It's linear. Don't try and use the quadratic form for linear. Don't. It's not quadratic. You just solve it. Add 5 to both sides. Divide by 2. Leave it as a fraction. Done. So we got x equals 0, technically twice, and x equals 5 halves. That's it. Okay. Let's see what's going on this one. Well, it's already equal to 0 for us, so that's good. GCF, let's see. I got a 5 and I got an x. So that leaves me with x to the 4th minus 16 equals 0. Check each term. Let's see. Or factor. Can I do anything with this? No. Can I do anything with that? Let's see. It's a binomial. Is it a difference of squares? Yeah, it is. So what squared gives me x to the 4th? X squared. What squared gives me 16? 4. So it's x squared minus 4, x squared plus 4. Don't forget it's equal to 0 still. All right, let's check each term again. Still can't do anything with that. Look here, it's another difference of squares. Okay, so I haven't gotten here yet. I haven't checked this one. Let's do this one. 5x. What squared gives me x squared? X, yeah. What squared gives me 4? 2. X minus 2, x plus 2. Now let's check this one. X squared plus 4. Hey, it's a sum of squares, which isn't a thing. So we're done. Is it sum of cubes? No, it's not. We cannot break this one down any further. Oh, look at that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 factors to set equal to 0. Yay. 5x equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0, and x squared plus 4 equals 0. So now all of these factors are equal to 0. Solve each one. This one's easy enough. X is 0. Another linear, x is 2. Linear, x is negative 2. Quadratic. Don't say x is negative 4 because it's not. Now b is 0, so if you're doing it by hand, you can use the square roots method. That's fine. If you're doing it with the calculator, a is 1, b is 0, c is 4. You get 2i and negative 2i. And there we go. Notice we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. It's a 5th degree polynomial, so we better. The previous one had 1, 2, 3, or this is a double, 3 zeros. That'll always match. Sometimes though you got this double root going on, so don't forget about that. That counts twice, its multiplicity is 2. Okay, a few more. We can do this. Let's see what's going on here. Subtract, gotta make it equal 0. So I've got 8x to the 5th plus x squared equals 0. Factor it, my GCF is x squared. It's going to be 8x cubed plus 1 equals 0. Can I do anything with this? Can I do anything with this? Wait, hey, look at that. What is it? It's a sum of cubes. You are expected to memorize that formula. I'll pull it up in a second though. So x squared, can't do anything with that, but this one, what's a? What to the third power gives me 8? 2. What to the third power gives me x to the third power? X. Plus what? 1, right? And remember, it's a squared, so this, we just found a squared, so that's 4x squared. This is a sum of cubes, so this is a plus and this one's a minus. A times b, 2x times 1 is 2x. Plus b squared, so plus 1 equals 0. Now I will, see, where are we at? Go and show you those formulas again. So don't have it written there. So there's my difference of squares. There's my sum of cubes. And remember, the difference of cubes is the same thing, but with the minus sign here and a plus sign there. You should have that in your notes. If you need it, go back and look at the previous videos. Okay. Oh, I just got lost. There we go. We're done, right? We just factored it. Now we got to solve it. Set each factor equal to 0. Squared equals 0. Hey, it's a quadratic. 2x plus 1 equals 0. Hey, it's linear. I forgot my squared in here. Sorry, guys. I'm terribly sorry. So this is a squared, so it's 2x. Squared is 4x squared. Sorry about that. So 4x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, it's a quadratic, so what? Who cares? It's 0, people. Come on now. It does have a multiplicity of 2, though. Solve this one. 2x equals negative 1. X is negative a half. Subtract 1 from both sides, then we divide it by 2. It's a quadratic. B is not 0. Oh, yay, we have a calculator that can do it for us. Mode 5, 3, 4, -2, and 1, and we get that. Yes, I know not all of you have this for some reason, so I'll do it by hand. Jeez. A is 4. B, -2. C is 1. Quadratic formula. You also have to have this memorized. -b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. Plug and chug, people, plug and chug. X equals -2. I suggest putting that in parentheses. Plus or minus square root. Anytime you plug in something, put it in parentheses so you don't screw up your signs. All of that is over 2 times 4. All right, simplify this thing. Remember, it must be fully simplified. 2 plus or minus square root. That's going to be 4 minus 16. 4 times 1 over 8. Let's go to the next line. 2 plus or minus square root of -12 over 8. So now I'm going to do some scratch work and simplify this radical. Again, if you have an appropriate calculator, it'll do it for you, but if you're doing this method, you probably don't have the calculator. You're probably using your phone. So let's break it down. 12. Well, that's even, so I'm going to do 2 and 6. Well, that's even, so I'm going to do 2 and 3. Oh, okay. So that's going to be square root of 2 times 2 times 3. I got a pair of 2's. 2 times 2 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root's left with 3 on the inside. It's negative, so that needs an I. Since I'm here, I might as well go ahead and split it up. X equals 2 over 8 plus or minus 2 square roots of 3. Don't forget the I over 8. Not simplified yet. 2/8 simplifies to 4th. Plus or minus 2/8 simplifies to a 4th. Since we have other stuff up here, I'm not going to bother writing the 1. And that's what we should have. Let's see what the calculator said it was. Oh, look at that. It's the same thing. Oops, I didn't split it yet. Not quite done. Gotta write my answer. Done. So x equals 1/4 plus square root of 3 over 4i. And x equals 1/4 minus square root of 3 over 4. You can either write the I in the middle or in the numerator. Do not write it underneath the radical. Do not write it in the denominator. If you do either one of those things, I'm marking it wrong. And that's what we have here. Plus and its conjugate. There we go. So our answers would be those two things, 0 and -1/2. 0 has a multiplicity of 2, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 answers, which is what we should have. Next. Yeah, I don't think we're going to do those. Well, yeah, this one will be real quick. Set equals 0, done. GCF, none. How many terms do we have? 3. So how do we factor that? AC. One times negative 42, well, that's negative 42. B is 1. If you don't know your math facts, use your calculator and do 42 divided by 1. That's 1 and 42. It needs to be positive, so this one has to be negative. 2 and 21. Three and 14. Yeah. 4 doesn't work. 5 doesn't work. 6 and 7. Oh, hey, look, there it is. And of course, if you do know your math facts, just write it immediately. And again, we're looking for the factors that add up to this. This would be 41. That ain't it. This would be 19. Nah. This would be 11. This would be 1. Oh, hey, look, that's what we want. After you have your A and your C, or your factors of AC, put them over A. A is 1. A is 1. Simplify. Oh, hey, look, it's already simplified. Whenever we're doing the AC method, in order for it to work, it's going to have to look something like this. There are times where it won't work, so there's that. In order for it to work, it's going to have to look something like this. This right here is going to be our variable. So x squared is what's going in these spots right here. That's our variable right now. Could be x, could be x squared, could be x to the third power. It could be ABC to fifth power. Who cares? Whatever. It's whatever's right there. Because that's what we're talking about. Now, the coefficients come straight from here. The coefficient is the denominator. The numerator is what's on the other piece. Boom. That's how you factor it. And no, you do not need these ones. So you can erase them or leave them. I don't care. Important thing is set those equal to 0. Set each one equal to 0. And then you solve them. It's a quadratic. B is 0. You can use the square roots method. You can use the quadratic formula. You can use the calculator. I do not care. I'm going to just write down my answers. It's the square root of 6 and negative square root of 6. What I did was the square root method in my head. Don't forget when you square root, you do plus or minus. And there we go. That's my 4 answers. 4th degree. Good. Move on. All right, another one equal to 0, another trinomial, so it should be another AC. So I'm going to do 2 times, no, I'm not. What's the first step of any factoring problem? GCF. So 2 and x squared. Everybody's got that up in them, so take it out. I'm going to do a whole big old bracket just so you can see clearly what's being dealt with. We got this times this. Parentheses are the same thing as brackets, okay? I just like to separate my trinomials with brackets here, okay? Okay. Now, when we're doing the AC method, we're looking at the factored trinomial, like after we take out the GCF. This piece, not this one, this one. Do it. A times C is negative 24, B is negative 5. So 8 and 3, because I know my math facts. And which one needs to be negative? The bigger one. Boom. Take those, put them over A. A is 1. Look at the factored part after the GCF. 3 over 1, negative 8 over 1. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this thing right here down. this has to factor something like this. This is going in the middle. Oh, that's my variable, so that's what's going up in here. So that's 1, I'm not going to write it, plus 3. That's 1, I'm not going to write it, minus 8. Equals 0. Check them out. Can I do anything here? No. Can I do anything here? Oh, look, it's a difference of square. Oh, no, it's not 8. It's not a perfect square. Sorry. Set each one of these equal to 0. And solve them. That's 0 twice. Oops. That is square root of 3i and negative square root of 3i. That is, well, 8, if you break it down, is 2 square roots of 2. So 2 square roots of 2, square root of 8 is 2 square roots of 2, and negative 2 square roots of 2. Solve it however you need to solve it. You can look back at previous examples to see how you solve each one of those. But again, this is not new. This is solving a quadratic. We did this for like 2 months. Oops. Hey. Okay, this one. 4 terms. Hey, what do I do with 4 terms? Group. Do I have a GCF? Nope. Everybody's got who cares what. There's no GCF. So, group them, first 2 together. Make sure this is a plus sign. So change that to plus negative 32. Always want this first piece positive. In my first group, my GCF is x squared. Left with 2x. Minus 3. Factor out that negative. Minus 16, I think, yeah, 16. Times 2x minus 3. So negative by negative is, or positive by negative is negative. So equal to 0. Now let's look here. I have 2 terms. Oh, hey, look, these 2 terms have a GCF. Factor it out. My GCF is 2x minus 3. See, both have it. Factor out 2x minus 3 from this first term, I'm left with x squared. From the second term, I'm left with minus 16. This is linear. Can't do anything with that. This, I can do stuff. What is it? It's a difference of squares. I get 3 nice answers on this one. Well, nice as in rational at least. 2x minus 3 equals 0. X minus 4 equals 0. And x plus 4 equals 0. Let's get ahead of myself. Solve it. X is 3 halves. It's linear. If you can't solve linear, whew. X is 4. X is negative 4. There's my 3 answers. Cubic. Finished. Okay. So the only new thing is this whole equals 0 bit. Just do it. Just solve them. Once you set it equal to 0, you might have a quadratic, or you might have a linear, or it's possible you just get a number. Like if you have a GCF, let's say 2 and no x's, you'd have 2 times blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about the 2. 2 can't equal 0. I think that's it. So if you're having trouble with the factoring, go back and rewatch the factoring videos. If you're having trouble solving quadratics, go back and watch the solving quadratics videos. If you're having trouble solving linear equations, go back to 6th grade. Just kidding.